Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Okay. So our project titles about US Homicide reports from 1980 to 2014 was prepared by Zahirrudin, Amin Hamdan, Aiman Manaf and Nik Nur Aisyah. So for the introduction slides, homicide is a term used to define the killing of a person by another. Some different kinds of homicides are capital murder, manslaughter, and criminal negligent homicides. And each year there are thousands of criminal cases recorded, whether it be robbery, rape, burglary, and the worst of all, homicides. According to a report by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, the average homicide rate in the US was 4.9 per 100,000 inhabitants. This trend is so worrying and is making very American concerned about what is going to happen in the future. Okay, the next one, project aims is to analyze the trends of US homicides. And the second one, to know the factors of US homicide from 1980 to 2014. And the data analysis and visualization help to observe the pattern of the perpetrators and victims to study the chances a person can kill or be killed by someone. Okay, the next slide is about scope of analysis. The data consists of 638 38,454 rows of records ID in all over the country from 1980 to 2014 with 24 attributes. This dataset includes the age, race, sex, ethnicity of victims and perpetrators, to the relationship between the victims and the perpetrator, and weapon use. The objectives is about to analyze the relationships between gender and homicides, to study whether race is a significant factor in homicides, and the last one, to visualize the trend of US homicide from 1980 to 2014.
Okay, for the methodology, first we use data collection. Data collection is a procedure of collecting and measuring data. Okay, we use a Kaggle website to retrieve all the data in this project. Okay, next. Okay, next is data description. In dataset, we have a 24 attribute, which is have a many such as record ID, agency code, and agency type. For the data description, we have the description of each attribute. Okay, for the data dictionary, it like same as a data description but have add the data type and data size. Example of data type is numeric and string. Okay, next is a stage in data analysis. We have a 4 stage. The first one is the data collection. Second is data discovery and profiling. Okay, next, the third stage is a data analysis. We can see there are 6 charts in our project. For example, the first one is homicide case by state, frequency, number of victims by gender, and trend of US homicide. And the last stage is data visualization. We use a Tableau software to visualize all the data and form a chart. Okay, for the derivative attribute, we want to find the type of age for perpetrator and victim. Okay, as we can see, the age, this is the range of age, which is 15 to 24. The type is youth. 25 to 64, we have adulthood, seniority, and childhood. Okay, for the data issue, we have a problem in our attribute, which is victim ethnicity has a duplicate data. This duplicate data can make the analyst having a hard time reading and analyze data. So we change into a suitable name to become easier to understand the data.
Okay, the next slide is about analysis and findings. So for the first chart, represent the count of homicide cases in every state in America from the year 1980 to 2014. The chart is in the form of map of the United States of America. Right. The next chart is about the frequency of murder weapon used by a year. The edit chart shows the frequency of murder weapon that are used by year over 34 years from 1980 to 2040. Overall, there are 16 types of weapons that are used in homicide cases with one unknown weapon. The third one is about frequency of crime solved for every year. So for this information, line graphs are chosen to represent the data. This type of chart is especially useful when demonstrating trends of or numbers that are connected. Okay, the next one, for this information about the number of victims based on gender. So for this category is including male, female and unknown gender. A suitable chart for this information is a pie chart. Okay, the next information is about the number of perpetrators based on the perpetrator's race. The attributes involve perpetrator race and perpetrator count. It means only the perpetrator attributes involved in this bar graph. The next one, these findings are more information about homicide trends in the United States. Under the leadership of the largest city, the country murders rate in 1990 fell to its lowest level indicator. So we use a line graph. The next slide is about limitation and recommendations. So the limitation is the data is about duplicate data, spelling error and unsuitable attribute name. So for our recommendation is the attribute names need to be precise to avoid misunderstanding, and they should be platform that can visualize big data in easier way. The conclusions is steps that have been chosen have succeeded to achieve our objective. The data have been visualized through chart to learn the pattern and trend in the datasets. Through the graph, we have obtained the average of homicide happens from 1980 to 2014, starting increasing in 1990. The dataset also showed the fact the highest number of victims is coming from the male's gender and the highest cases among the perpetrators are coming from black.